Hello there everyone, Nubkeks here, and in today's video we are going to talk about how the number of players playing World of Warcraft fell by 41% between November 2020 and January 2021. Pretty crazy. It's a pretty big drop, right? So this, shout out to Bellular. He did a video on this, which I just watched. So I jumped out of bed. So I was watching this before going to sleep. I was like, ooh, that's cool. Jumped out of bed to make this video and tell you my thoughts. Because I do think it's a really interesting topic. So we'll go into it. Again, this data is from Super Data, which is a Nielsen company. So it's a really big professional data analytics company. In fact, they're just in this thing, they're looking at all sorts of games across console, mobile, and PC as well. So loads of things right there, right? But yeah, let's talk about this then. In fact, revenue actually fell by 61% on top of the number of players going down by 41. I guess one of the first questions could be, why has revenue gone down by more? So I'd say there's probably a few different parts of this. Possibly, I think a small part could be you could have some race changes, some faction changes, realm changes at the start of an expansion as you go to play with new friends or just have a new experience for the start of an expansion. I think that is possible. Possibly as well, more possibly this could be including expansion sales. And even more possibly as well, I suspect you could have people purchasing things like a 6-month sub when they rejoin the game in November. And then obviously it's a 6-month sub. They're not going to be rebuying a 6-month sub in January. So I think those sorts of things sort of combine into this on top of just obviously 41% of players. I don't know if that means subscribers or just people actively playing. Let's assume for the sake of it that it does mean subs, in which case 41% sub money as well has gone down too. So there you go. Is this really bad? Is WoW dying? Is this terrible? Oh gosh. No, I don't think so. Again, as the company here points out, player numbers fell back to normal levels. This is completely normal. As I say, this roughly matches the pattern seen for the past several expansions. This is the way that WoW has worked for years and years and years, although Shadowlands did have a bigger launch. So yeah, and again, I think it totally makes sense, right? It totally makes sense. A new WoW expansion, it's a new leveling experience. There could be new races, new classes sometimes. Certainly a lot of class changes. There's new zones to explore, new dungeons, new raids. Everyone comes back to the game, so you've got a bunch of players to make friends with, or you can meet up with your old friends. So yeah, there's a lot there at the start of the expansion, but that content gets used up. The content is at least somewhat finite. There's replayability, especially with friends. I'll come back to that in a second. But the actual content there's a lot that is finite. You level through, and then you've done the leveling thing once. You finish your Covenant campaign. The Covenant campaign is finished. You do a dungeon the first time, and as your first time through the dungeon is gone. After that, it's your second time, it's your third time, and those aren't as good. So yeah, the content is finite. So yeah, it totally makes sense that people will play loads for the first, often I think 2 months is quite normal. And then for a lot of people, that's where they start to, drift off, lose interest for a while until the next big content drop comes out again. This is in fact the way I played in Warlords of Draenor. In Warlords of Draenor, I loved it for the first month. Started getting quite bored in month 2. And then I quit after about 2 months. And I didn't come back for the entire expansion. I came back at the start of Legion. Absolutely loved it again. I think I loved it for about 2 months that time. Then I quit. In Legion, I did come back. I came back about a month before Antorus came out, which was the final patch of Legion. So I didn't come back for the middle patches, which I'm actually kind of sad about, because apparently Nighthold in particular, not only do I love Suramar, and I really loved the Suramar setting, and I mourn the implementation of the, not Night Elves, I'm Nightborn, brain fart, Nightborn Elves. I mourn their implementation in the game is terrible, right? As a allied race. But yeah, I miss Nighthold as the raid, which is a bummer. But yeah, I came back a month before Antorus because kind of looking and going, oh, there's a lot of cool stuff has come out since I quit. I want to come back. Antorus seems really cool. It's a really epic sort of finale to this Legion story. Cool, I'll come back and check it out. We had like this WoW guild started up. So yeah, and that was awesome. And one nice thing about coming back at the end of the expansion was that there was all that old stuff to go back to and check out as well. Like there was a bunch of new dungeons I never played through. I could go back and do that class mount, all that sort of stuff on multiple classes. I could go back and do the mage tower, all stuff that had been added like midway through the expansion on top of the new stuff. So it was awesome. I had a great time. And that was a really fun way to play the expansion. Big chunk of content at the start on launch, and then basically get all of the post-launch content again in another big chunk at the end as well. I've been different for BFA and for Shadowlands, obviously, as you guys know. Sorry, my nose is really itchy for some reason. Oh, Lord. It's killing me here. I guess this is just dusty. I don't know, does it get like dusty at night in here? I don't know. For BFA and for Shadowlands, obviously I'm playing pretty much the whole time through. That's because in a really nice, love my guild. Guild is great. Got a great raid team in particular. So we're like progressing through mythic raiding, which takes months, right? So that's like a months long project with friends, doing all that sort of stuff together, and also doing PvP together, doing dungeons. And just having that friend group, having that community totally changes the gameplay experience, right? Having friends and having a guild group to play with consistently, and having goals to work to get towards together consistently. I think that is what it certainly keeps me playing. I don't know about you, but it keeps me playing the whole way through an expansion. Whereas, like I said before, when I didn't have that in previous expansions, I play like this. I would totally been one of these 41% if I didn't have the WoW Guild and obviously the channel stuff that I have now for Shadowlands. So there you go. That's some insight into how I feel. So yeah, like I said, I think this is normal. It makes sense. Another part of this is, which I think people do get wrong, is they go, well, wow, man, we didn't have people drop off. We didn't have subs drop off like back in Vanilla or back in Burning Crusade. Blizzard just sucks now. They ruined the game. Why don't they make the game like they used to? I think that's wrong. I don't think that's right at all. And the reason I say that is that you're talking about a completely a different era, right? A different era of gaming, where the competition was totally different, right? Like especially when WoW first came out with Vanilla, it was so revolutionary, really, as like this really casual, accessible MMO. From Blizzard, like a really well-known game studio, that just with tons of people coming in and just the hype around it, all of that. But the alternatives that you had just weren't there compared to today, where like I could hop on over to Steam and there might be a mega sale on Steam with all these games, all these indie games. Like there's just so much there, and again, there's so much more MMO. There's so much more multiplayer games there for me to pick up and play. They just didn't exist back when WoW first came out, right? They just didn't exist. And a lot of them stole stuff. I was just watching like Outsiders demo. I didn't play it myself. I watched someone play it though. And like in the Outsiders demo, like the gear is colored as a green, blue, purple, orange. It's the same colors that from WoW, like the games have taken those concepts from WoW and brought them in. So you get a sort of a WoW style, you get those elements in other games. There's just so much more stuff out there. And again, I think if they brought these games out again today, which they are doing, would they hold your attention? I don't know. For some people, yes, they would. You love those games, and that's cool. I don't know if that's true for most people, though. Certainly for myself, what I will say is WoW Classic came out. Again, I had a great time playing it for about a month, and then I lost interest, and I didn't go back. I probably won't go back. Same thing with Burning Crusade. For me, Burning Crusade, I'll pick it up. I'll play it. For me, I'm very glad for the boost. By the way, I think that was another controversial topic. The people are really into it. I think a lot of them hate the idea of this boost. Again, from my perspective, I really don't care. And I'm just glad, because if there wasn't a boost, I probably wouldn't bother playing it, because the grinds to get up to actually playing it, it's just really boring to me. It just genuinely, I have no interest in that. So I know you probably don't care whether I play it or not. But for me, I'm glad there's a boost and I'm going to play it. And again, I'll probably play it for maybe a month or so, and that'll probably be it, That'll probably be it. I'll have a good time and I'll be done. And then I'll come back in another 2 years when they do Wrath of the Lich King, and I'll play through that. I might play through that one a bit more, because I did really love the setting of that one, of Wrath of the Lich King. But yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think. Again, another thing I would point out is like man, is this a big thing that Blizzard needs to fix? Do they need to change this? I don't really think so. Again, Shadowlands is bigger launch than all the other expansions, like in recent years. They're doing something right. I would say that it probably wouldn't make sense for them to try to completely revolutionize the wheel when the wheel's actually working pretty well. And also another thing to consider is that whereas you and I could probably think of, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if they added all of this stuff to WoW and all of this stuff, and they could just triple the size of all of this thing, and be like, yeah, that would be great. That would make it much better. That would be better. But would that actually have, tangible impact on these things, which is what Blizzard has to consider, what Activision Blizzard will consider, is that, would the payoff of getting all those extra developers in, putting in all that extra development time, would that payoff be worthwhile for them to do, to make the game that much bigger, and the risks that would entail? Versus, of course, the opportunity cost of, let's say, I don't know, take $1 billion worth of hires and development time and infrastructure and everything, and put that into developing like an entirely new game instead. You know what I mean? Like, there's a big opportunity cost there. And listen, I'm no expert on that, but I'd say Activision probably cares quite a lot about money. I think we can agree. And, again, this is normal for them for revenue to fall by like 60%. That is literally probably billions of dollars every year. And if they're okay with it, if they're not trying to change it, then it probably is not worth changing, So that's what I think about it. But there you go, guys. Again, that's just, these are the numbers. This is what it is. Like I said, I think it's just fairly obvious to me that this is how things work. I think the great thing about WoW, I'll end on this. I'll end on a nice, positive, upbeat note. I think the really great thing about WoW is that, although, it is much like anything, it's something that you get really excited about when it comes out, and then, you walk away, you take a bit of a break, or you go check out other stuff. The awesome thing about it is that whenever these new expansions come out, these major patches come out, that there is so much excitement about it, and that there is that really good quality to it, that it is enough to bring loads of people back, right? It's enough to bring people back. People get hyped about it. When there's another big content patch, 9.1 hits in particular, there'll be a surge of people coming back. With every big content patch, right? Shadowlands, when the next expansion comes out, there'll be another massive surge as well. And I think that's pretty guaranteed. So there you go, guys. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Hopefully I didn't waffle too much. I'm going to go scratch my nose. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.